defining threads in SolidWorks, I will start with a part. So file, new part. Within top plane, I will create a circle. So the diameter will be 50 millimeters. And I'm going to extrude this on a length of, let's say, 30 millimeters. So we have some geometry to work with the thread. So this will be our solid part. Now, in order to position the thread, initially I'm going to go with hole wizard. So hole wizard allows us to insert customized holes of various types. I'm going to click on that feature, and for this purpose I will pick the hole type straight tap, and for the size I will go with something like M10. The end condition will be true all, and these are the settings that I will define for the whole specification. I'm going to go on position, and I'm going to position this hole right on the top of the part, exactly on the origin. So I will click on OK, and we're going to see that we have that M10 tapped hole over here. We can see that sketch. This will be the sketch. So this will have a diameter of 8.5. Okay, now for the thread part. If you want to rapidly go to the thread feature, on the right side on the top, where we have the search commands, we have the SolidWorks help, we have the file and models, also my SolidWorks. If you are by default on search for commands, you can use the same hotkey just like in Fusion. If you're going to press S from search, now you see that we have an input at the top, that it's slowly, let's say, blinking, and we can type in what exactly do we want to choose. I'm going to type in thread, and we're going to see that the first feature available will be the thread command. So we can activate that, and we're going to have a little, let's say, notice regarding the thread tool type. We see that the type and size profiles are nominal threads profiles only. Do not use them for production quality threads. In order to create production quality threads, it's important to modify the nominal profiles in order to meet let's say, the design requirements. We can choose to not have this split again. I'm going to leave it like that. If I'm going to click on OK, I'm going to see that the thread options will be open over here on the left side of the screen. So this is one way how you can access threads, but if you are going to make use of multiple threads, it's better to have it positioned directly on the toolbar. So for example, I've positioned the thread feature over here where we have features, will be the last one thread. In order to do this, you can use the customize. If you're going to select this drop down button where we have those gears, we're going to go to customize. We're going to see that we can customize the commands. If I'm going to click on commands, I can search the feature over here. So again, if I'm going to start typing in thread, I'm going to see that the button will be this one for thread, and I can have that positioned. If you want to remove it, you can just move it and drag and drop it over here, and it should be, let's say, undocked from that. So again, I'm going to go on thread. Let's see, in order to define the thread, initially we're going to have to specify the thread location. As we can see, this will be, if I'm going to leave my mouse on that, we're going to see that this will be the edge of a cylinder. In our case, we're going to position the thread over here. And by default, we're going to see a preview. These are the, let's say, the last settings that were used on this machine. I'm going to leave it initially like this. And after that, we're going to discuss various features. So if I'm going to go with metric die, this will add material on the middle. And if I want to define a thread, let's say for this, we're going to go with tap, and that will remove material over there. So what are the main difference between tabs and dies? Tabs are used to make internal threads within a hole, and dies, they are used to make external threads on a rod. But within SolidWorks we can also add even, let's say, external threads within a hole. So I'm gonna go like this with metric tab. We're gonna see that for metric tab we have two creation methods. So it's currently set to cut thread, and if I'm gonna click on OK, it will be able to cut that thread since it has that let's say material where to cut from. If I'm gonna go within a section view on the front plane, we're gonna see that the section view will look like this. This is the preview of the section, and we see over here we have the profile of the thread. If I'm gonna click on OK, I'm gonna see that after the section is selected, I have the possibility to see that thread profile over here as an edge over the surface. So if I'm gonna go over here on thread profile, if I'm gonna go close to that, I'm gonna see that these are the values of the nominal thread, and this can be adjusted according to the design requirements, just like it has been stated when we click on that feature. In order to reposition the starting point of the thread, we can go back to the thread, edit feature. And over here we're going to have the possibility to add an offset. So we can offset initially the distance. So from this selection, if I'm going to go 1 millimeter, press tab, I'm going to see that I'm going to have that 1 millimeter of clearance, and only after that the thread will be, let's say, positioned. We can also change the rotation. So for the rotation, you can go with a value between 0 and 360. If I'm gonna go with 270 in this case, I'm gonna see that the start will be positioned in the bottom quadrant of the circle. And if I'm gonna go with OK, I will no longer have that within this section view. So over here we had that profile, let's say, edges over the surface, but they were cut at the same height of the section cut over here. I will go back to the thread to discuss some other features that we have over here. So for the end condition, we can go with blind. Then we can specify the value. We can go with any numeric value that we want over here. It's important also to choose the unit. In this case will be millimeter. We can go by revolutions. If I'm gonna go by revolutions, for example, I want 10 revolutions, I'm gonna have the model defined like this. We can also go with up to selection, which in this case will ask us for a surface and will be the bottom surface, or we can predefine a different plane or surface within the model to have that thread only position up to that surface. Afterwards, we have the possibility to do the changes. So this is the metric tab that will remove the material over there. So make the threads internal in a hole. If I'm going to swap to metric die, it will be this one. We're going to see that even within the preview, we're going to have those elements added in the middle. Again, I'm going to stick with the same metric 10 with 1.5, and we're going to see that these are the values. So the override diameter for the hole will be 8.5, and at the bottom we're going to have the thread override pitch. So this will be 1.5 millimeters for a metric 10. We also have the possibility to change the thread method. So currently it's set to cut thread, but we have this add selection type metric die. If I'm going to try to apply this thread, I'm going to see that the part will have some rebuild errors. This is because we don't have any surface, so we don't have anything to cut. In this case, I'm going to need to select extrude thread. So for the same metric 10, if I'm going to click OK, I'm going to see that now the thread will be modeled and added in the middle of the hole. This will take a little bit of time depending on the computer specifications, but now we're gonna see, so we also have this added externally since we had that initial offset, so I can have that removed. And I can go not with selection, I can go with blind, and I know that the whole distance will be let's say 30 millimeters. We're gonna see over here we're gonna have one more revolution, so we can go with either by revolutions, and I'm gonna only add 19. So we're just gonna have a small overbuild over there that we can adjust. If I'm gonna remove it once, so 18.75, we should no longer have that overbuild over there. Regarding other aspects for the thread feature, I have the possibility to change if you want a right hand thread, a left hand thread, so depending on the design requirements. You can also add multiple starts for the thread, and also trim the face at the start and at the end, so have that surface a little bit trimmed. Regarding the preview, by default SolidWorks will go for wireframe preview on the first level. This is let's say the most common. If I'm going to increase this to the second one, I'm going to see that each profile will have additional profiles. So this will remain the same, but we're just gonna visually see more lines that are connecting that shape. So also for the middle, if for the first step over here, we're just gonna have for the vertices on the edge, we're gonna have afterwards, each one will have another section on the middle, and that will also be added twice, 3 times. So this will just, let's say, increase that the visual number of lines defining the profile. We can go with the partial preview, so this will only pick one vertex, and we're gonna see the helix starting from that point onwards. So this is a more simple representation. And we can also go for a shaded preview. This will also add a green gradient that will better highlight the shape that will be added. So I'm gonna go back to cut extrude, and that means that I will need to swap to metric tab. And one of the main features that I like within Fusion 360 and not in SolidWorks is that you can have the thread resize, and that will also adjust the table. So in SolidWorks, if I will try to do the same, for example for this thread, I will decide that I no longer want to go for metric 10. Maybe I would pick metric 14. I'm gonna see that this will not do any changes, so we're still gonna have the same thread added, because we're gonna make use of these values, so the override diameter and the override pitch. We could have those overwritten, but it's a, let's say, best practice to go and have the tab hole adjusted. So in this case, we know that we no longer want to go for metric 10, we want to go for metric 14. And now I will see that the thread has automatically updated, and we're going to have the new values. So we're going to see that it will be 12.5 for the diameter, and after that we're going to have the pitch of 1.5. So this is something that Fusion will automatically update. So these are, let's say, the basics for threads in SolidWorks. I hope you find this video useful. If so, please let me know in the comment section, or consider giving the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. I'm gonna start creating some playlists. So if I'm gonna go over here, we see that currently there are some playlists. I will add this to the SolidWorks section. Also, I'm gonna merge some of the CATIA V5. I will try to mostly create content for each software. So that's CATIA, SolidWorks, Fusion. These are for computer-aided design, but there are also some 3ds Max, Blender, Unity for other aspects. So if you find this video useful, please consider to support this channel. Okay, thanks, and see you in the next video.